Yeah. Miss USA International, what a doll. We're going to see her in the future. Wish her all the best. But my featured guest tonight, I'm honored to have him on the show. He's a good friend. He's been on a while ago, and he's here tonight, and we're just going to have a little sit-down. So let's give it up for radio personality, comedian, author, actor, Goumba Johnny.
No! Thank you.
My man, what are you doing?
That's a tough act to follow.
You're finally here, my brother.
I know, I come once every 7 years.
Yeah, he does. 7 years. That's the last time he was here. And you didn't age at all.
I got to tell you, this is a tough act to follow. We got Miss USA and then Mr. USA, Jeff Rami.
Oh, forget about it. Salami head. Now, you're originally from the Bronx, right?
I was born and raised in the Bronx, and then when I was about 12, 13, we moved to Yonkers.
Well, go figure. With all these, I mean, everyone knows Johnny from all these different things that he does in the entertainment business, but you actually graduated with a bachelor's degree of science.
Yes, I
back
did.
in the day. I mean, talk about that. Were you actually going to do something?
I went to a 2-year school, and I got associate's degree in marketing.
Okay.
And then I went to a state university at Brockport, and I wanted to become a teacher. And I did not enjoy the teaching. I knew I wasn't going to do that long range. And I just filled out my science core and ended up like being a bio major.
That's great, man. That's tough.
Well, I didn't do anything with it. But
hey, listen. One day, maybe if you want to retire from the entertainment business, you go do that.
well, you never. There's always value in education, you know, and it teaches you. It teaches you how to explore new horizons, and you learn new things, and it just expands your personality. And
100%.
And a lot of the college for me was social. You know, I mean, I played football, and friends and so on, and there was a lot of growing up done during those years for me.
Now, Broadway bodyguards. Talk about that back in the day. You used to do like escorting celebrities and politicians and stuff.
Well, what happened was when I got out of college years ago, I signed a free agent contract with the Jets.
Oh, wow.
And then the following year with the New York Giants. My career was extremely short, but I was still a very big guy. And I got into bodyguarding through somebody else who was doing it at the time. So I got to work with some people such as Malcolm Forbes and Sam Kinison, and I worked with Tom Jones once, Smokey Robinson, people like that.
That must have been cool, Sam Kinison, right?
Well, Sam Kinison I worked with a lot, and that was way before I ever did comedy. And he had a full-time bodyguard in California, and he would hire me as an extra bodyguard when he came to New York.
How was he? Funny? A lot of fun?
He was, I tell you.
Intense?
Well, no, he was one of the greatest speakers. He would tell a story, and you would hang on every word of it. And because he was, he was an ex-preacher.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he used to say the most amoral thing I've ever did was leave the church.
Wow.
But he had a lot of charisma, and he was a tremendous speaker. And I mean, sometimes he would just get up and talk. I see him perform, and people would just like hang on every word he said.
Yeah.
People really liked him.
No, he was great. I didn't know him personally, but I loved his stand-up.
Well, he was probably I would say 50% of what he could have been, due to the drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw 50% of Sam Kinison. I mean, God knows.
And he was fabulous.
How good he could have been. Yeah.
Now listen, your real love is comedy, and
By the way, let me say something. You really did wonders at the dollar store. With these decorations.
Listen, this is the dollar budget show.
You are a smart show. I didn't even know they sell suits at the dollar store.
No, this is for Macy's actually.
I'm sorry.
It ain't a puffy comb one. It's a French made.
No, you look good. You look good. I'm teasing you.
Thank you. This is from the Christmas tree, and my photographer Kathleen Gillihan decorated this really nice. We give her a hand. Yeah.
Hey, let me say this. Johnny and I are friends, and here's the funny part. If you knew his personality outside the show, he is really funny. And I'm not saying you're not funny on the show. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
it's a different thing, but you have this personality off the show where you're unpredictable and you're upbeat and you like to goof around and you like have like a million ideas going on at once. And over here you're so subdued.
It's hard here to me to bring out what I really want to bring out. Like if I was on the NBC and everyone catering to me and had writers and I just had to show up and do my job, then I could do that. But I'm so, like, you see how I am. I'm all over the place. It's hard here.
You
know?
feel by the time the show comes, like.
But I'm half-winded by the time I get on. But I'm good. Like, I lose that concentration of people's names sometimes when I should be in the back, hanging out, reading my cue cards, drinking a cup of coffee.
Right.
But listen, I love what I do here. This is great. This is a great stepping stone for me. You know what I mean? And
well, you do a great job. But how many years have you been on?
this is 10 years. This is the 116th episode.
10 years.
Yeah.
Now, do you get a pension at 20?
Pension, forget about it. Pension, yeah, I'm gonna be sitting on the Santa Monica Pier with my guitar.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that Johnny's a musician.
Yeah, a drummer by heart, man.
Will you play on the show? Do you ever play on the show?
I play like every third time a band comes on. It's mandatory that they have to invite me up to play the drums.
And you, yeah?
Yeah, so like if you're in a band and you play 2 songs, I'll give you 3 songs.
And you get on it.
And I get on the drums.
Oh, cool.
The next show I want to be doing that a little more. But yeah, I love. I mean, I play the drums all the time. It's my release.
Yeah.
But as a profession in making it, no. I would like to join a band one day that's actually making money, and not a bar band, because it's tough.
It's a tough business. Music business is very tough.
It's worse now than it was then, because they're paying bands $300, $400 for 4 or 5 guys. I'm not going to bring my drum set out of my house for that.
And it's $20 in tolls now, wherever you
And then
go.
you're spending the money, you're drinking, you're eating, you got your friends coming, you buy them their drinks. I mean, people do it when they retire and they don't care. They got a pension.
Then it's fun.
Yeah. But listen, I love the drums. That's why I'm here. I mean, it is what it is.
Johnny.
That's it. No,
Well, that
no.
one guy in the audience is a troublemaker, isn't he?
He's going in the trunk when we get back. I got to go back get my van. I got to get the van.
Johnny, leave it alone.
It better be a big trunk.
Now, you actually won the National Talent Star Search for the Fires Club back in the day, right? For
A roast.
roasting.
Yeah, roast. I won a contest where people competed for roasting.
My favorite roast was with you was when you busted Vinny Pastore's chops. I thought that was so amazing. That was hilarious.
Well, you know, it's on YouTube.
It is. It's great. Check it out.
Goumba Johnny.
Yeah, Goumba Johnny Fire Roast, Vinny Pastore. He's coming on for my season finale.
Vinny?
Yeah.
We're going to Cleveland tomorrow.
He's the best. I love Vinny. I call him Uncle Vinny now.
We're going.
Well, he tours with Vinny Pastore. They
Yeah.
do comedy together.
We're going tomorrow to Cleveland. We're performing at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh, he is a trip. He mellowed out a lot in his older age too.
Well, he's not a young guy. You know, he's 70. He's 71 years old.
Wow.
And he looks fantastic.
No, he really does.
He really looks good. And you know, he's very active. He does a lot of stuff. He's constantly asked to be in TV shows and movies. And now I got him doing stand-up comedy on the weekends. And you know, people love it. He's very, very popular.
No, the Sopranos, forget about it, you know? It'll go down in history.
Well, it's, you know, Rolling Stone said it's the greatest TV show ever.
Yeah.
And he was one of the most popular characters after James Gandolfini.
I love The Sopranos. I watch every year. I watch the full season, religiously. Sometimes even maybe more.
I've never seen the show.
No, you had to see it. When I first started dating Michelle, my fiance, she would stay over and she'd be like, "Who watches gangster movies at 3 o'clock in the morning? Go to bed," because like she'd be trying to sleep and it'd be, you know, all this stuff. I go, me. I go, I like that stuff. She used to get nightmares. Who's some of your favorite comedians?
I have to say Jeff Parami.
Oh wow. I heard of him.
Are you gonna have him on?
No, forget about it. That's
No,
the guy-
I like. I really like Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
I like Bill Burr. I like Colin Quinn. There's a comedian named Ryan Hamilton, who is hysterical.
Oh yeah, I never heard of him.
Oh
Check
yeah,
him out, but
he's had a couple of specials out. I think one is on Netflix. He is really funny. I get to work with a lot of comedians in New York City. So,
how was Dice when you worked with him?
Dice, I tell you, Dice is really something else. I mean, I worked with him back in the day, and he worked at a club in in New Jersey called Rascals, and it was like 350, 375 seats, and he sold it out for like 15 days in a row. I mean, he was so popular at his height. The way he sold out Madison
Oh,
Square
that was the
Garden.
best. That was like, what is that, like 89, 90 or something like that, 91,
I'm
right
not
around
sure,
there?
but I don't know if we'll ever see a comedian that popular again.
Dice is great, but who's the new guy that's really hot now?
Sebastian.
He's awesome. I think he's really good.
Maniscalco?
Yeah. He just got a small part in The Irishman, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? I have to say, what he's done for Italian comedians is amazing. He really broke through. He's a superstar Italian-American comedian, and there really hasn't been one since Pat Cooper.
Yeah, Pat Cooper.
I mean,
too,
of course, Don Marrero, I have to give him credit. He's a superstar in his own right, but Pat Cooper is, like the godfather of Italian comedy. And for whatever reasons, Italian comedy has never really had that wave, like black comedy or Hispanic comedy or even gay comedy, and now you see more and more Italian-American comedians are doing much better.
Now, Red Fox and Richard Pryor, they were awesome back in the day.
Yeah.
Well,
Red Fox was filthy. he was funnier than hell.
Yeah, well, Archie Bunker, what about, Carol O'Connor? Just All in the Family was awesome.
Yeah, but you could never see All in the Family
Not now.
on TV today.
No way.
You could never see the Jeffersons.
No way.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of shows that we watched growing up that if you put it on now, people would have heart attacks.
Oh, no, forget it.
Even today. I mean, as a comedian myself, I mean, I have to.
You got to watch.
I don't watch, but sometimes you have to almost like explain jokes before. Like sometimes if I'll do a political joke, I'll explain to the audience, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm a registered independent, and I actually hate the government.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a joke, and then like they're not sure how to react because I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, so I don't have a side. So they could laugh. It's okay for them to laugh at my joke. So I mean, it's rough out there for comedians that are, you stick today. If a comedian sticks his neck out, your head can get cut off.
Yeah. Forget about it. Now listen, it's almost your time, but let's talk about some of the books that you wrote.
I wrote one book. What are some of the books?
I thought you wrote a couple ones. That's what it said on Amazon.
No, I wrote one.
Bestseller.
So you want to be a mobster?
I wrote a book.
Yeah, that was it, right?
Yeah, actually, it's a funny story about the book. Real quickly, I'll tell you. I was contacted by a publishing company to write. I was in my 40s to write a book about dating. So they said, we'd like you to write a book about dating. I said, hey man, I'm 45 years old. I'm single. No, I'm not the guy to write this book. I said, I'm like a loser in love. No. You're exactly, we want to get your perspective on it. So I wrote 3 chapters and an outline, and I handed it in, and they called me about 6 months later, and they said, we didn't like it, and we didn't dislike it, and we think that you could write. We'd like you to write something different. And I said, yeah, what? And they said, can you write like a comedic hand guide on how to start your own mafia family?
That's sick.
And I'm like, really? And I hung up the phone, and I was really upset. And then at the time, I was writing for Star Magazine. I was working for Victoria Gotti.
Yep.
And she called me up about a week later, and she goes, whatever happened with your book? I said, they didn't like it. So she goes, really? And I said, but they asked me to write this comedic hand guide on how to start a mafia family. And she goes, you have to do it. You have to do it. She goes, who else could write that? And I'm like, okay. So I wrote it.
Yeah.
And I was probably voted in high school most likely not to write a book.
That's funny. Where was I?
Yeah.
And what was in the quote? Get made, get paid, get babies, etc. Something like
Well,
that.
the original quote was get made, get paid, get laid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
I
I mean,
gotta-
it's a tongue-in-cheek thing.
I got to try to find a copy of that.
Oh, you could find it.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
You
Oh,
should
my-
have brought it with you. You could have signed it.
Anyway,
Go get it, lady.
I really just, I mean, the book itself was, you do it and you finish it and it's an accomplishment, and it's like
Yeah.
you look back and like it's like you have your show, and sometimes you say, wow, I never thought
Yeah.
that I would be able to do something like that. It's like when I was on the radio, I said I never thought that, I'd be able to be on the radio, or, some of the blessings are just.
The things that you don't expect are the things that happen usually.
Well, you know, in my life, everything good that happened to me was more or less an accident, and everything bad was my choices. I mean, I gravitate to crap.
I hear you, me
My
too.
father used to tell me that all the time. He goes, you know, you're really impressed because you're the smartest guy in the room. He goes, you don't realize what idiots your friends are.
Yeah, no, I
And
know.
he was right. He used to tell me, he goes, you don't have one friend that could write a business letter. And I said, you know, he goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, he goes, you got to get out of it.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I learned, you know, the hard way.
All of us did.
Yeah, no, I
Thank
think.
God for our family.
Yeah, and I think me especially. I think my lessons were hard and well deserved, and I wouldn't have learned anything if it wasn't delivered to me like that.
No, forget about it. Yeah.
Thank you, fan.
Listen, we're not going to get into it too much. We'll talk about it another day. But when I was out of control, my old man put me in jail and left me to rot for like about 3 weeks.
And did that help?
It helped me.
Yeah.
I was like 20 years old, but you know, my dad did the right thing because he saved me. You know.
Well, you know, the parents see you for what you are. I mean, you know, when you're growing up, you just don't. You don't know what you look like. You don't know how you behave, and you can't step outside your body and process everything.
Yeah, and who could tell you it different back then?
No, you don't want to listen to anybody. You know, maybe if I had an influence in my life like Jeff Parami.
La familia!
Forget about it.
Yeah, my life would have turned out different.
Well,
How funny was Jeff Parami? Can
No,
I
he-
speak about Jeff Parami for a
He
minute?
was great. What about John Maroney?
John Mulrooney is one of the guys who inspired me to get into comedy.
Yeah, I love him. He was here.
I
You're
told you.
You're the one who turned me on to him.
I told you John Mulrooney is one of the funniest people you ever meet in your life. And he's one of the nicest guys.
Yeah, no, he is.
You know, he's
He
got
is.
family out in Staten Island. I know. I think his mom is out here, and some of his other family. He's originally from Brooklyn. He's a real New Yorker. He's a tremendous talent. You know, he had his own talk show on Fox.
Yeah. I went through his whole history.
He's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's a heavyweight talent. You know.
Good guy. I told him, I go, listen, you got to get me a PBA card. He goes, what, for you to go speeding through my town upstate? No way. But listen, John, that's your time. What's going on? You got any plans, any dates coming up in the future?
Just going to the Hard Rock Casino in Cleveland. Thank you.
Yeah.
With Vincent Pastore, Big Pussy. And that's
wanna
it. I can spend the holidays with my family.
That's all.
Yeah.
If people want to find you on social media,
Don't.
that's
don't
it. You don't like doing things like that,
No,
right?
it's simple. It's like Goumba Johnny at Facebook.com. I mean,
That's it. You can find him anywhere. Just put Goumba Johnny. Google him. That's all you got to
Italian
do.
lives matter.
So Johnny, but listen, it's always
Italian life matters. That's right.
It's always a pleasure, and I want to see you
I'll
back
see you in 7 years.
in the new year. Goodbye,
right.
Johnny, everybody.
Thank you.